there. My name is Renee Mohr with the Mohr Natural Show, and today my guest is Justin Bosley, and he is with Evexia Science, a company that he created from his two passions of chemistry and nutrition to combine those two and come up with some really interesting and helpful products. Let's find out how Justin began this company. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mohr Natural Show. Today I have on Justin with Evexia Science, and he has his degree in chemistry and in nutrition. Justin, I know Marianne introduced us. However, like I said to you on the phone, most people with a degree in chemistry go either pharmaceutical or to Department of Defense of the military. So what led you into developing these great products?
So I grew up with a bunch of health issues, digestive issues, lack of energy, just a lot of immunological issues.
Right.
And my mom was really into natural health and she would use like herbal supplements all the time. And so I would use a lot of those same herbal supplements and it helped me a lot. And my dad was also a chemistry teacher. And
Okay,
so,
nice.
yeah, and my dad would bring me into he'd bring us into the lab and he'd do these really fun experiments. And so it just gave me a love for chemistry. And I just tried to learn as much as I can about chemistry. I kind of grew up in those two worlds. And I got really into like the chemistry of natural supplements and like active ingredients and how they work in the body and looking at different studies. I went to Brigham Young University and I got my degree in nutritional science.
Great.
And it was I just loved it. I love nutritional science and I love just analyzing diets and trying to figure out like the best way to eat healthy. And so that's what I was really fascinated by that as well. And then I also worked at Young Living and I formulated some of their supplements.
Okay.
And then I went back to school at a degree in chemistry. And I took a degree in I took a class in pharmacology, and I learned about just how pharmaceutical products work and like the theories behind how to treat disease and how to develop proper pharmaceuticals. And so I was like, it gave me a lot of inspiration. I was like,
I bet.
just thinking about how one thing that I learned during that degree was that there isn't a whole lot of difference between, say, like an herb that has an active ingredient. Say, for example, if you have white willow bark, which
Right.
was popularly used by the Native Americans to treat pain,
Right.
headaches, things
Yeah.
like that. And it has a strong anti-inflammatory, which most of us know as salicylic acid,
Right.
which was used as aspirin back in the day. Nowadays, they chemically modified it to be acetylsalicylic acid. But, if you take salicylic acid, it has same pain relieving and anti-inflammatory properties. And so, you know, there you can really look at like the individual ingredients in herbs and see like how they affect the body, and they have a lot of the same uh, target molecules in the body, target
Right.
proteins. Most drugs will target a certain protein, and you can see that certain herbal ingredients or even like food ingredients can target certain anti-inflammatory pathways and modulate those things.
Hey, everyone. I'm interrupting my show. I want you to head over to Mohr natural.com/free gift and download my ebook, The Parasites Hidden Within. So this book will tell you about parasites, how you can pick them up. They're they hide more than just in your colon. They can be anywhere. All right. And how about you pick them up? So they can be in your water, in your soil, in the air, in your clothes, new clothes especially. We get our clothes from all over the world. A lot of times they have parasitic eggs in them. So my book will go all into that and let you know how you can what you can do to help eliminate these. And it's free. Head on over to Mohr, Mohr, natural.com/free gift and then download my ebook for you, The Parasites Hidden Within. And then let's head over to the show.
And I just got really into that, and that's what inspired me to start Evexia Science. So
Nice, because it is true. When we had pain during the 1800s, and earlier, the Native Americans, they were all already using white willow bark. Now, as we know, herbs can't be patented because none of them are the same. I mean, they
right,
can have two white willow trees, but if they're growing in two different areas, they're going to have different components of strengths and weaknesses in them.
right.
And so that's why they can't be patented. But it's nice to see that you took the science of that and then the science of nutrition and combined them to so that you can help others and combat their different inflammatory issues in a really natural way.
Yeah. And so I mean, really, that's what I realized in that class was like, there isn't a whole lot of difference between a pharmaceutical, except for there's really two differences between most pharmaceuticals and herbal supplements. And one is that the um, most pharmaceuticals are going to be um, synthetic molecules that are not naturally derived.
And that's really difficult, especially when you've got now so many people who have different gene SNPs that can't convert or can't activate things that are chemically based.
Yeah.
So
But
hearing about what you're doing, this is really exciting to see somebody who is combining nature and chemistry
yeah.
work together.
Yeah. But what's interesting is I think about 50% of pharmaceuticals on the market today they're still at least based on the natural compounds which they were derived from. But they're created synthetically because it's a lot cheaper. And so, but then you also have the fact that you can't really patent a natural compound.
Exactly.
You can't really go and patent a tree or plant and
Right.
or the extract from it. And so that you can patent processes to extract or, create certain derivatives of the plant or certain, I guess, maybe certain ways that you could concentrate those ingredients in the plant.
Right.
And so, but other than that, you can't really patent like natural compounds very, very easily.
There is no patenting Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And as our environment changes, then the herbs around us change, and they will have different components to them from ones that were grown maybe a few years earlier or in a different area. I'm really excited about this because, as you know, with pharmaceuticals, most people, there's a whole list of side effects when they synthetically make something. And then they add a lot of chemicals to it that they want to add so that things last longer. And I find that's where a lot of my clients have difficulty is with those adding of those chemicals. And they've got those gene SNPs that don't allow it maybe to be converted, or having difficulty with the liver or the kidneys. And a lot of those are break down and metabolized in the liver or the kidneys and causing them added issues. So it's really exciting to hear about you've got a product that helps also with
I can't really legally claim that it treats
No.
or cures IBS. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that I developed it for myself, and I dealt with IBS for years. And I mean, I still have IBS because
Exactly.
it's much more complicated than just like, one thing. But
Right.
for some people, it can be caused by different things actually for
Yeah.
different people. It's not always going to be just like, you can't just take one thing and it's going to get rid of or cure it.
Any type of illness that people have going on, there is no one magic pill.
Yeah.
It's several different protocols and components going in, but at least this is something that can help manage it.
Yeah. So Gut Reset is the product that I developed. I struggle with IBS, and I would say like the majority of my symptoms were related to my digestive issues growing up,
Right.
especially like my energy, fatigue.
Did you have also the brain fog and
Oh, yeah.
lack of motivation?
Yeah, definitely.
It makes
Real
really
bad brain
hard,
fog. Oh, yeah.
really hard to live life. I mean,
Yeah.
Things that you would love to try or do, you've always got to think about, okay, am I going to be able to do this if all of a sudden I've got this flare up?
Yeah. And so like wake up in the morning, you're like, "Oh, I don't want to get out of bed."
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You're like, I know I should be exercising, but I don't want to.
Yeah,
And
just I'm too tired or I'm in too much pain, and you're just like, "Ugh, I just need to lay here and try to get some sleep."
yeah.
Never actually being able to get that sleep to because your energy is just being so drained
Yeah.
from this. So this is great that we can let people know that you have a product. I'm not saying it cures it at all because there's nothing that can cure it definitely, but help. Even you offer some hope to people so it can be managed.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah, so gut reset basically I developed because I was diagnosed with SIBO or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Right.
Um, Normally in your small intestines you have a little bit of bacteria, but not a whole lot, and it's like maybe 100 or less of the amount of bacteria that's actually in your colon, and you should only have like certain types of bacteria.
Right.
But what's interesting about IBS is that there's really no like unique bacteria that inhabits people with IBS in their small intestine. It's mostly just an overgrowth of that bacteria.
Right.
And scientists still don't understand what really causes that, but they've used herbs to help treat, or sorry, not herbs. They've used like drugs to help treat a lot of those symptoms and treat the overgrowth to reduce that overgrowth, and it does help with some of the symptoms. And so I was diagnosed with SIBO use a breath test. So they'll basically have you breathe into a tube, and then you take a sugar or
To help activate the bacteria.
yeah, some sort of non-absorbable sugar, or you can take glucose or fructose sometimes. But yeah, so that'll cause the bacteria to start
Stimulate it.
feeding off of that, and they
Right.
produce gas, and then that'll come through your blood up to your lungs, and you'll breathe it out. So they have you breathe into this tube, and after you take the sugar, they measure that over a course of a few hours. And so you breathe into a tube like every 30 minutes or an hour or something. And then you send that into the lab, and they'll compare that to normal individuals without those symptoms of IBS or SIBO. And so I was diagnosed with SIBO, and the doctor prescribed me rifaximin, which is the typical, it's pretty much the only treatment that is used for
Right.
SIBO. It's a antibiotic that's basically been modified so that your body can absorb it, so it'll make it further down into your digestive tract.
Okay.
And so like I took that, and with insurance, it was like $600 for 14 days.
That's crazy.
Insane prices.
Yeah.
But that was a discounted rate based on insurance.
Oh, they call that a discount.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally it's $2,000.
So what are they expect people to do who have this and
Don't have insurance.
can you imagine if you don't have insurance? You're telling me it's
Right.
$4,000 a month.
You're supposed to do it for only 14 days. So luckily you don't have to do it like long term. But like still that's a lot of
$2,000 a month for a lot of people is they don't have another option.
yeah. And it's just crazy. And I somehow forked over that $600, and it didn't do anything for me. Like it didn't help me one bit. That it didn't help my bloating, my gas, my
Really?
constipation.
Can you imagine paying $600 for a product and then taking it and it doesn't work? And there's no refund, there's nothing you can do. They're just like, oh, sorry. You've just given them an opportunity. You have something now that I'm sure is not going to cost $600 for 2 weeks.
Right, yeah. And so like I think the only thing it did was like it gave me chills. Like I just started like getting chills from I had less ability to like regulate my temperature, it seemed like. But like
Okay.
I was more cold, And I think it had to do with like my calcium absorption. I think it messed with my microbiome in such a way that I wasn't absorbing calcium as well.
That and I also wonder if it has any endocrine or hormone disrupting issues.
Well, I mean, considering your gut bacteria
True.
is directly
Yeah.
related to a lot of different issues or
Yes.
things in your body. If you have hormonal issues can be caused from inflammation, which can be
Right.
caused from gut bacteria. So it's related in some way.
Yeah. And
So
so everybody's going to have different side effects to it.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, can you imagine? Now, for most people out there, can you imagine? Okay, somebody goes to buy a car. They go get the car, they're all excited, and they drive off with it. And within the first week, all of a sudden, the oil's dripping out. It's a brand new car.
Mhm.
You call up the dealership. Hey, I know I just bought this car. I've got a big oil leak. I'm going to bring it back. I need you to fix it. Still under warranty. Okay, we'll get to it in 2 months. What am I supposed to drive? What am
Yeah.
I supposed to use? I mean, with you using this, you were expecting some results to help so that you can function daily better.
Yeah.
And I bet
Yeah.
you, did they offer you a $600 refund?
No, not at all. Hell, they don't have that luxury.
No. So the fact that you have this product available to help people get some relief so they can get up in the day and stay motivated and get up and function. Oh man, what most people are just going to be like, yes, I've needed this. I've been looking for this.
Yeah, and so basically before that time I was using golden seal root.
Right.
So this was before I started taking their Rifaximin. So I was using golden seal root. I was even using an extract of barberry root. But those weren't really doing enough for me.
Right.
And they were effective. They're actually more effective than anything I'd ever used, like herbal wise, and especially more effective than the Rifaximin, which didn't do anything. But so I was like, I realized that I need some way of making it more effective, because I thought, like, if I could isolate, so the main component of berberine and golden seal root that actually give them the antimicrobial properties. So I guess going back a bit, so golden seal root and barberry root they grow native in North America. And again, the Native Americans, they use this herb for centuries to treat different immunological issues or like infections and things like that. And so doing some research, I found that it had these antimicrobial properties, and I looked at some studies that were done with golden seal and barberry root. And they found that the berberine has the antimicrobial abilities. And when they do extracts of barberry root and test it on bacteria, it's effective. But if they isolate the berberine by itself and then they test that on the bacteria, it's not effective. And that's one reason why it's not typically used as an antimicrobial. And it was actually explored for its antimicrobial properties because of that. But since discovering that by itself it's not really effective as an antimicrobial, they didn't really pursue it.
Right.
And so I looked at some more studies, and what they found that there was actually the reason that the plant itself is antimicrobial and the extract of the plant is, but not the berberine, is that what happens is the berberine, when the bacteria encounters the berberine, they actually will pump the berberine out of their cells, because the berberine's toxic. It's toxic to the bacteria. It's not toxic to humans, but it has some effect on the DNA of the bacteria, and I think it also disrupts the cell membranes. But what they found is that the bacteria actually will increase the amount of pumps. Like, there's these proteins that will pump.
Right.
They're called MDR pumps, or multi-drug resistant pumps.
Right.
And they'll just pump the berberine out of the cell. And those same pumps are actually related to human P glycoprotein pumps. And so, but that's kind of a side note. But anyway, what happens is the bacteria will just pump more of the berberine out of the cells. And so the studies found that there was another compound found in these plants that actually inhibited those pumps to make the berberine I think it's 100 to 1,000 times more effective at killing the bacteria. And so the plants, mainly the roots, have this self-protective effect, which have these two compounds that work in synergy to protect itself from bacteria and things like that. And so, yeah, so I was like, well, I can get isolated berberine because I wanted to make a more concentrated version
Right.
of
Yeah.
the plant. So basically, I could get isolated berberine, but I couldn't find this other compound. And so I thought I eventually discovered that this compound was part of a class of compounds called flavanoligans.
Okay.
And so the flavanoligans, there's actually different kinds that are in the plant kingdom. And so I found out that silymarin from milk thistle, it is actually a flavanoligand. And so it has a similar structure to the one that's found in the berberine or the barberry root,
Right.
and has that antimicrobial property. So I was like, well, I wonder if silymarin actually also has the same pump inhibiting properties. And so I found out that silymarin had been tested in humans for its P glycoprotein like inhibiting properties. And like as I said earlier, P glycoproteins related to the bacteria MDR pumps.
Okay.
And so hopefully this is not too complicated.
No, I
But
mean, well, I love the fact that you're going into the science and that of the herbs, what they can do. And they've been here for so long. I'm Christian, so Heavenly Father, He put them here for us to use. I think that a lot of the information on the herbs have been buried, but I love the fact that you're explaining this, the science of it, how you came about to create this product.
yeah. So anyway, what I did was I said, well, maybe there's some studies testing the combination of silymarin and berberine on bacteria to see if it had these antimicrobial properties. And so I've actually found one study that did that. And because I knew that like since the silymarin was actually very similar to the compound in barberry root, but it was slightly different. There were just a few molecules here or there that were different. I figured like it's probably going to have slightly different properties and it's going to need different ratios to be effective. So
Right.
I found out that it needs to be combined. So I found the study tested different ratios and it found like the right ratio to be most effective. And so I used that ratio. Basically, I combined silymarin and the berberine together to create gut reset. And I
Nice.
tried that on myself, and it was so much more effective than anything I've ever used.
That's
And
great. And so nice to hear that
yeah,
there is a solution out there for people who are in the same situation as you've been. And is that what led you to create your business?
yeah. Well, that's one of the things. I had several formulas that I developed, but I mean, just before I talk about like what started my business, I found that when I was using the gut reset, it helped it not only helped my digestive issues, like
Right.
it helped reduce my gas, my bloating, and it also helped to improve my mental health, like
That's huge.
reduce my anxiety, my insomnia, my issues with fatigue and with depression and things like that. And so like I think that with a healthy diet, with a good healthy
Mhm.
diet, it can help people. And that's
Because,
just my opinion, but like
well, it makes sense. When you're not getting the sleep that you need, it's easy to fall into depression. And then I find with myself, all I think about is all the stuff I need to be doing and getting done that are building up. And the fact that I can't do them because I just feel so terrible or fatigued and have so much brain fog, I forget about it. It causes more stress.
Mhm.
And then for myself, when I would become overstressed, that would cause me to have a seizure.
Mm.
And for you, though, it could cause a flare up. And then you're like, what can I do? Why isn't this working? I'm not going to be able to get, whatever done you needed to be done. In fact, or just living your life.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to hear that you are using this science and the herbs that are in nature to create these products to help other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, basically once I created that and I used it for myself for a little while. It was actually shortly before I started my business that I created Gut Reset. But the real genesis of my business was my product called Guard. So that one is a spray. It uses 5 essential oils with water and glycerin, and it helps to stop a cough like instantly, depending on the type of cough.
Right.
I found that it works especially well for coughs that are due to like just irritation to the back of the throat.
It's like during an allergy season.
It's great for allergies. People with asthma love it. People with COPD have used it. People with all kinds of different lung issues. And it's also, smokers really like it.
Okay.
It's especially popular with smokers. And so yeah, it does well for like colds and flus, but I would say that like if you have a cold or flu, it's not gonna like totally make the cough go away like immediately. It'll help to reduce irritation and prevent coughing fits. So if you like say for example when you get a flu and you start coughing and you just like you keep trying to cough because you get mucus coming out of your lungs, that can actually lead to more irritation in your throat. So like the coughing will like not like make your throat really irritated and raw. Yeah.
Sore.
And so that'll cause you to cough more.
Right.
And Bronchia Guard can work to stop that like real fast.
Nice. And we're coming up into flu season here. Just in a few weeks, there'll be a lot of people who could probably really use this during this season.
Yeah. But I'll say like some people expect like if they have a cold or flu that like all of a sudden like their cough is going to completely go away and it's not going to come back. It will come back if you have mucus going down into your lungs.
Right.
And your lungs are trying to get stuff out.
Yeah.
You don't want to stop that kind of cough.
Right.
Because you want to get that mucus out. You want to help to increase that expectoration. And you need to cough in order to do that. So it's not going to get rid of that. But it does help to increase ciliary action. So in your throat and lungs, you have little hairs called cilia, and they sweep the mucus out of your lungs. And so I have a blog post on my website, but it basically goes to the science of how the essential oils, like especially I think the oregano and I know the eucalyptus have been tested to actually help increase ciliary action. And so in that sense, it'll help to sweep the mucus out of your lungs. And that's one reason why people with COPD really like it, is because it helps to get the gunk out.
Right. It'll help to get that mucus, move it up and come out.
Yeah.
And that's great. Where can people find these products at?
They're on my website, evexiascience.com.
And how do you spell Evexia?
It's Evexia.
Okay.
Science.
Evexia.
Yeah. Evexia means wellness in Greek. So.
Okay. Nice. All right. So thank you for coming here today and watching the Mohr Natural Show. Thank you, Justin, for coming here and being with us and letting us know about your business and your products.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the episode, and head on over to mohrnatural.com/free gifts and download my ebook, The Hidden Parasites Within. And we'll see you on the next episode.